Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids, the channel where you get no nonsense, in-depth reviews of all the latest cars and motorcycles. My name is Amit and this one is the EQE SUV. Now, before I start this review, you need to understand that the SUV version of the car, which is this one, is available in India. Internationally, you also have a sedan version, which is like the electric E-Class. This one is like the electric GLE SUV. Now, so with that out of the way, let me just start off by saying that the premium electric SUV field was not too cluttered, but now you can see a lot of players coming in, and the mentionables here are the Audi Q8 E-Tron, and you also have the BMW iX, you also have the Jaguar I-Pace, and these are the primary contenders of this car. And in terms of dimensions, this car matches up reasonably well, although the length and the width of this car is not as big as the Q8 e-tron and the iX, but it is taller than the Q8 e-tron. The I-Pace is the smallest of the lot. So in terms of dimensions, it matches up pretty well. And if you look at the shape, it's quite a jelly bean kind of a styling. It's not a very brawny, very muscular, very boxy kind of a look. It is a very organic, very flowing kind of a look, and that's to improve the coefficient of drag, and this one slips through the air rather well. Now, coming towards the front, there are some highlights, and you'd be interested in knowing a few things which are really quite interesting. And the first of those is this grille, which is all black with these chrome three-pointed stars all over it, with a big badge and a traditional Mercedes-Benz badge right here. This bonnet here does not open, it's fixed, so that's something that you really need to know. The lighting here is very advanced. 2.6 million pixels in there. This is all LED and it's very smart as well. You have this connecting LED piece here which connects the two headlights. You have this chrome embellishment. You have a front unit of the 360-degree camera, and you have some ADAS features as well, and you can see the front parking sensor as well. From the front, it looks very organic. It looks rather neat. It's not very brawny, as I mentioned, but the bonnet is a surprise. It doesn't open neither on the SUV nor on the EQE. The wheels here are 20 inches, and while we have not been told the ground clearance, what you need to know is that this car comes with air suspension, and when you lift it in the off-road mode, it can go up by 25 mm. What we have been told is that when the suspension is not raised, the ground clearance in the unleaden state is 130 mm plus, but I cannot tell you that conclusively. Coming further towards the rear, you see this EQE branding here, this chrome surround on the greenhouse area, and a very beautiful two-piece panoramic sunroof on top. You have the trafficators, you have the 360-degree camera unit here, and you also get this beautiful footboard which makes it very easy to get inside. You get illumination above the footboard, which is very nice, and if you have just not noticed, these door handles are also flush fitted, and essentially once you lock the car, they go inside very beautifully, and to open them you just have to swipe the doors like so and they'll come out. It's really nice and dramatic and beautiful. Coming further towards the rear, you'd see that the charging socket is placed right here. And another interesting thing about a socket, I'll let you know in a bit. At the rear you have this helix-like LED setup which looks very distinctive. If you're following the car, if you're trailing it, it looks very distinctive, and you'd be able to figure out that you are trailing an EQE 500. Another interesting feature that you have here is that to open the boot, you just have to flip this three-pointed star like so, and the tailgate is powered. And just for your convenience, we have put some luggage here to make things clear. Let me just take things out and give you an understanding of how big the bags are. Now, a big problem here is that you have a space saver spare here. So the boot is not very generous. I think for a family of 4, you can go out for 2 or 3 days. But if you really want to go out for a very long holiday, then this is not the most suitable car. Although the second row seat is 40-20-40 split. So that really is helpful if you're not traveling with 4 people. So you really can drop down a seat and increase your loading area as well. Now, apart from that, you have this net here, a 12-volt power socket, 2 hooks to load bags. Then you also have these little hooks if you want to prevent your stuff from tumbling around. And then you also have this parcel shelf which is retractable in case you just want to pop something while traveling. So it's practical but not the most capacious boots that we have seen. And then you have this button here to lock it, and this one to retract it. If you want to stop it midway, you have to press it again, like so. Now, as you would have seen, just like the front, the tail lights are also connected. And a very interesting thing about this three-pointed star is that not just is it the button to open the boot, it also flips out to reveal the rear unit of the 360-degree camera, and that's such a dramatic and nice thing to have. You obviously have the rear parking sensors as well. And now for the one thing that I wanted to show you. Now, since the bonnet does not open, the wiper fluid has to be added from here, and there's a separate flap that comes out for you to put in the water. All in all, it's not a very brawny or a very intimidating, very boxy looking SUV. It's very sleek, very futuristic, and rather understated. On the inside though, this car comes loaded with tons and tons of features. It also gets some ADAS functions, and we are going to get inside now and see what all features do we have here. Right, let's have a look at this key, and it's a nice heavy metallic key. And this is the button to lock, this is to unlock, and this is to open the boot. And as I mentioned, if you want to get inside, you just have to swipe your fingers over the door handle, and they'll come out in a dramatic fashion. And then you'll be welcomed by one of the nicest and probably the most futuristic cabins in any car in this class or beyond. This really is a unique dashboard. But before that, let's have a look at the door panel as well. As you can see, this is two-tone, this is Artico man-made leather, and this grey is one of the colors that you have for the upholstery. And you also have a black. You have three-way memory, you have ventilated seats, heated seats, and all these are the controls for electric seat adjustment, electric controls for the mirrors, but the mirrors are not heated here. You also have this button here to remote release the boot, and this car also comes with a 15 speaker 710 watt Burmester sound system, which sounds fantastic. Now, in the door panel you also have space for two big water bottles, and the upper part is soft to touch leather and the lower part here is hard plastic. You also have this Mercedes-Benz illuminated scruff plate, and the upholstery is beautifully done. It's all Artico man-made leather, and it's perforated, very nice to touch, very soft. It's not suede, but it has a very nice soft, very velvety feel to it. To get in, as I mentioned, the car is not very high, so it's just slightly higher than ideal. The footboard really helps. And now let's have a look at the screen and the other features. Now, like I mentioned, within its class, this dashboard and this cabin really looks more special than the other cars that you have. And this big 56-inch integrated screen with 3 units, you heard it right, it's the largest screen here, and the central and the passenger side screens are OLED, so they are very high resolution and very nice to touch. So the dashboard here really is all a display, and that's something that you won't get in any other car in this segment or any other segment. The steering wheel is really round and looks very nice, very good to hold. And here you have the drive selector. On the left hand you have the indicator stalks, and on the end you have the wiper stalks. All of that is beautifully built, just like every other Mercedes. And you also have an HUD here, so that's a feature that a lot of other cars don't have, but this one does come with an HUD unit also. In the middle you have tons and tons of Type-C USB sockets, so 1, 2, and within this beautiful compartment you have 2 more Type-C USB sockets, and there is tons and tons of space here, so storage is not a problem. Here also you have tons of space. Your wireless charging area is here and it works rather well. And you also have some more space to spare, along with 2 cup holders, which by the way are adjustable. So depending on the size of your cup, this spring loaded lever here will grab it and keep it in place. And then you have some buttons here, the volume button, the mode button, and here you have the 360-degree parking camera, which by the way looks absolutely fantastic, very high resolution, and it's got multiple modes, and it's similar to the other cameras we have seen on the GLC and the EQS. So the quality of the resolution and everything is fantastic, no complaints there. Obviously this car comes with the latest generation MBUX, and it's very easy to use, a bit better than what you see with BMWs these days. Here you have the fingerprint recognition. You can register your fingerprints, and it does register biometrics in the form of fingerprints and face to identify you as a driver. Here you have the power button, and Here you have all the controls for the car. By pressing the EQ button, you'll get all the knowledge about the state of charge on your battery and the other things that you want to know about the range and essentially the performance of the car. So everything is very nicely laid out, and if you thought that these 4 Type-C USB sockets were a bit too much, then you have 2 more USB sockets right here, and then you have a ton of space which can probably take a bag, and you also have this elastic band which can keep things in place. In terms of safety also, this car comes loaded to the gills. It comes with 9 airbags. It's the only car in the segment which comes with 9 airbags, and all the electronic safety measures are there. This also comes with features like blind spot monitoring, attention assist. It comes with the lane keep assist. It also comes with a collision prevention system. So all of the features of a typical ADAS system are there. So it's loaded with features and it looks really nice. It comes with a 64 color ambient lighting unit, and you can choose from 64 colors, and in the night this car does look amazing. Both the visors come with vanity mirrors and illumination, and the sunroof, as you would see, is a very nice panoramic unit, and you have to swipe your finger like so to open it. And let me just open it to the extreme and show you how big the opening for the glass is. So the blind goes all the way back, obviously, and let's now open the glass. So this is by how much the glass will go back, and while you would expect it to go further back, this is the amount of opening in terms of ventilation that you'll get on this. Another nice touch is this open pore wood which comes with the 3-pointed stars all over it. So this again is a really nice, beautiful touch, and as I mentioned, it really is a very nice cabin to sit here. Without a doubt, the best cabin of the 3-4 cars that we have in this segment. And the AC controls are also inspired by jet turbines, the jet engines, and they look rather nice. They are a delight to use, and they are pretty functional as well. So to stop the airflow, you just move it like this, and to start the airflow again, you move it in the opposite direction, and then you can change the direction by just moving this about like this. Now in terms of the modes that you have on offer, you have 5 different modes to choose from, and you have the off-road mode where you can raise the suspension height by up to 25 mm. Then you have the eco mode, you have the comfort mode, you have the sport mode, and you have the individual mode where you have the option of customizing various different settings to your choice. All in all, a very, very comfortable car. The seats are heated and ventilated to 3 different levels. You also get 8 different massage programs. So this car can really keep you in comfort if you're traveling for long distances, and long journeys will be a breeze thanks to the air suspension as well, which really glides over bad surfaces. And whether you're driving or whether you're on the passenger seat, it really is one of the most comfortable and one of the most futuristic cars to sit in. But is the back seat really spacious and comfortable? Let's go there and find out. Let's have a look at the rear door panel as well, and you have space for one very large water bottle, and you can put another one as well. So there's ample space, and just like the front, you have soft to touch materials in 2-tone, and then you have hard plastic here, and the window is 1 touch up and down. And to get in is really easy thanks to the general height of the rear seat as well as the footboard. You also have this magazine holder. Now, while I don't have any problem with the leg room, knee room, there is enough space for the foot also to move about. As you can see, the headroom for people who are up to 6 feet or more is sufficient. What I would have really wanted this car to have is a little more thigh support, because it's not as much as I would want from a luxury vehicle. So this probably could have been a little better. The seat recline angle also could probably have been slightly more inclined, but generally this is a comfortable seat to be in. You have very good support on the sides, and the seat is very nicely contoured, and the cushioning is very nice and firm. You also get 2 separate zones for climate control at the rear. So in all you have 4 separate zones, which is a fantastic feature to have. And here you have 2 USB-C sockets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 USB sockets. This car has all the sockets that you want to power all your electric equipment. Obviously, you have a very nice and wide armrest with these twin cup holders, and there is some space where you can probably put your phone if it's not too thick. And This armrest is wide enough for two people to put their arms on without rubbing the elbows. The seats, as I mentioned, are very nicely contoured and it's ideal for 4 passengers. But if you really want to put a 5th passenger, you have a proper 3-point seat belt and you can use it. Since it has a flat floor, it doesn't have any hump. You can use this for short to medium journeys with 5 passengers as well. And you have the reading lights here, which you can turn on and off using this button. A coat hook, although I really miss a handle here, so you don't have a grab handle, and I would have really appreciated had there been grab handles here, but there are not. So the space here is good. Is it the best in segment? Probably not, but it's more than sufficient. The more important thing here is that it's very quiet, very well insulated, and the ride quality is phenomenal thanks to the air suspension. Now, before I start testing this car, let me be very clear about one thing, that while Gulmarg, where we're testing this car, is a very good place to soak in the views, it isn't exactly a very high-speed highway. And for a performance car like this, I don't think this is the ideal testing scenario. So if someone is telling you that they have tested this car thoroughly, I don't really think that's very credible, especially for this drive. We drove it around these winding roads and I drove it at the fastest speeds that I could, and it wasn't much, but I'll share my opinion with you anyway. So let's get done with the stats first. And this car comes with one of the most potent battery packs, and there are some cars which have a bigger battery packs, including the EQS, but the Audi Q8 E-Tron also has a bigger battery pack in its 55 E-Tron version. This one here comes with a 90.56 kilowatt hour battery pack, which endows it with the capacity to have a range of 550 kilometers, and in the real world it should translate to about 450 kilometers, which is pretty good. It's one of the longest ranges that you'll have on any electric car in India. Although if you really go to see, the Q8 e-tron has marginally more range, but the other two, the iX and the I-Pace, both have lesser range than this car. In terms of performance, the 0 to 100 acceleration of this car is one of the best, and if you really compare it with all the competitors, the I-Pace has slightly better acceleration at 4.8 seconds. This one does 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds, but this one has much better range. It has more space inside, and it also comes with air suspension, so it really has its own advantages. The other two, the iX and the Audi Q8, are slower to the ton mark. Apart from that, the top speed of this car is 210 kilometers per hour, which is sufficient but is not as good as some of the other Mercs, which go up to 250 kilometers per hour electronically limited. Now, the air suspension is something that you really need to talk about, because the highlight of this car is its comfort. It rides really beautifully. It isn't a very sharp car to drive, but it does feel very comfortable, and it's very evident, especially after having driven the GLC, which was slightly stiff at the rear. So whether you are up front or at the rear, the comfort is really noteworthy, and it's one of the most comfortable cars out there. I would say the Audi Q8 e-tron also is very comfortable. So both the cars are quite comparable, although the Audi has slightly better capability off the road, as the ground clearance is slightly better there. But this one also comes with all-wheel drive, and on or off the road, it really endows the car with a lot of grip. So whether you are going just off the road, this is not an off-roader, but it can go off the road. Whether you're going off the road in tractionless conditions, or you're trying to drive it fast in wet or snow conditions, this really has a grip on all 4 wheels, and that really is such a great capability to have. In terms of its overall performance figures, I would say that this is the most balanced car, because it has a very good range, one of the highest, best performance, and the comfort is great. If you're looking for the sharpest car to drive, I think the I-Pace is the car that has the best performance stats, but it doesn't have the range. But all in all, this is probably the most equipped and the most well-balanced car. It also has the longest wheelbase. So purely from the cabin length perspective, this has the most amount of space, very well insulated as well. So along with the fantastic sounding Burmester system, if you're going long distance, it has 8 massage functions and all of that. So long journeys can be really comfortable, and for a family, from traveling with family perspective, apart from the fact that it does not have a very big boot, I really think that it lends itself very well as a family car. In terms of recuperation, you have 4 modes. You can either turn it completely off, you can turn it to intelligent mode, where the car by itself decides as to what the recuperation level would be, or you can keep it to normal or aggressive mode, and you can change the modes using these pedals here. and that helps extending the range a little bit. Apart from that, if you want to extend the range, you can use one of the functions here using the eco drive functions, or by reducing the efficiency of the air conditioner, or a few other tricks that the car has up its sleeve. It can extend its range marginally. All in all, it's a very nice, well balanced car, and while it's not the sharpest, it's very comfortable. The steering has good feedback. You can place the car very nicely on the road, and unlike a few other cars which are very vague at the steering, don't have the right weight, that is not the problem here. If you really want to enjoy yourself, you really can. It also comes with the sport mode, which lowers the suspension, stiffens the dampers, and you really can have a lot of fun around the bends. But as I mentioned, I have not tested this car the way it should be, so this should not be considered as the final verdict. Now this car is available in 9 different colors, so that's quite a lot of variety. And a few other interesting things about this car is that, first, the battery warranty on this car is industry leading, and it comes with a 10-year 2,50,000 kilometer battery warranty. The battery obviously is very, very safe. This car has a Euro NCAP 5-star rating. And another very interesting thing for this being a Mercedes-Benz is that this car has to be serviced only once in 2 years. So you have to service it only in 2 years or 30,000 kilometers, whichever one is earlier. Now, in terms of its pricing, this car is priced at 1.4 crore rupees. There are no variants, so that's a good thing, and there is no confusion. Comparing it with the other cars in the segment, yes, this car is more expensive than the other cars in the segment. So if you compare it with the Audi Q8 e-tron 55, that car is available for 1.3 crore rupees. In terms of advantages and disadvantages, the battery power there is slightly more of the equipment list, and in terms of the luxurious interiors, the EQE SUV definitely aces the Audi Q8 e-tron. However, if you want a little bit more practicality and space, I think the Q8 has slightly more space inside. The rest of the two cars, the iX and the Jaguar I-Pace, are cheaper. Now coming to the iX, that car is available for about 1.2 crore rupees, and while the space inside is a little more, the performance here again and the equipment list is better than the iX. Overall, it comes across as a very, very well balanced car. If I really had to pick a few flaws, maybe the ground clearance could have been even better. It could have had a little bit more brawnier presence for an SUV, and the price obviously could have been a little bit less. But overall, in terms of the equipment, the space inside, the features, the weight drives, everything is fantastic, and it comes loaded with a lot of features. The only place where the other cars maybe have a light advantage over this car is the space inside, but this one is also more than sufficient. So if you're looking for a car in the premium SUV electric segment, this is a fantastic offering, and you cannot make your choice without going ahead and taking a test drive of this one. I really hope I was able to cover most of the points about the new EQE SUV in this detailed video. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to Motoroid, and until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.